Craigie B's job. He's on the hot seat. How long is he going to have this job? And I'm going to say right now, I do not think firing the head coach is going to change the face of this organization and the franchise. Yes, we saw it with Mike Babcock, and we've seen it with other teams that they get a coach, firing bump in the standings, but that's not the biggest issue we're seeing around this team. And from what I'm hearing around people that are actually with the team every day is that the team, they actually like Craig. You can't compare him to Babcock, who just seemed to be a terrible person in that locker room. There's bigger issues there. And we're talking about whether it be motivation. They know they're not playing well, and there is still a will and desire to try to get to that playoffs. But Dan, how close do you think Craig is to potentially losing his job? And is that the answer?
I don't think it is the answer, but his seat is pretty much molten lava right now. Like it is on fire, and I'm not sure, there's any way around it because the Leafs they're in a crossroads right now. They're at a crossroads of their season, and Brad Treliving as their general manager, he's the guy that is going to decide which path they go down right now. And the choices are, okay, I can see where this takes us, see if we can dig ourselves out of this, not try to pull anything, just see which road this takes us down. Do we sink farther into the depths of the National Hockey League standings, or does the team finally start finding its groove and play like we expected them to play coming into the season? Maybe the power play gets going. Matthews becomes a little bit more consistent. William Nylander scores for the first time in a month or however long it's been. And things start to turn around for the Leafs. And then there's this other path that they can go down. And that is try to pull a lever, try to give the team something to give them a jolt and make a trade. Change the coach. One of those types of levers that a manager can pull, a GM can pull to get his team going in season. The most obvious one, it's easier to fire the coach than it is to make a trade, as we've seen in the National Hockey League for many years. So that's more likely the road they go down. But you think about this season, they've already made a bunch of trades last year. Their first round pick doesn't even belong to them. It belongs to the Boston Bruins. That could be a disaster waiting to happen. This feels like a moment right now where you don't make that move. You don't try to give this team an out. You just see where this goes. Because if you do end up with a top 5 pick, you can regroup to next year, and maybe you've got another stud that's going to join the core with John Tavares, William Nylander, and Austin Matthews for years to come. That is, if we want to look for a positive, if this is where it's going to go down, that would be the positive. That would be the carrot at the end of the road for Maple Leafs fans if the season does end up going that way. I mean, just look at the standings, right? And not to be such a downer on it during the holiday season, but you look at the standings, the Leafs have dropped to second from the bottom in the Eastern Conference. So only Columbus is lower than the Maple Leafs. Buffalo's gotten hot. They got their new GM. They're getting their new GM bump, I guess. And, they're now 3 points up on the Leafs and playing a lot better brand of hockey to boot. So now that you're looking at it, you're looking at the standings. And this is kind of the point that I'm getting at is you're getting into a territory where it's going to be very hard to climb up through all the teams that you have to get through. And the most important thing you can do as a team is make that decision. And there's power in deciding which path you're going to go down. And we saw it with the Bruins last year. Once they realized, hey, this is not our year. We've got all these injuries. Guys are underperforming. This is a reset year for us. And I think the Leafs are getting close to that sort of decision where, okay, it's not must win and that, your playoff lives depend on it here in December, but every loss gets them closer to making that decision that it's time to just say, okay, this is a reset year for us.